Started it. Okay.
It's all right. You can cry on camera.
It's
It's a
just I can't
safe
stop laughing,
space
and but my
right here.
laughing, I'm smizing with my eyes. I'm laughing with my eyeballs.
All right, Weston, kick us off.
Welcome everyone to MS Office Hours. It is Thursday, November 30th. Let me please introduce our hosts.
Hello, everybody. My name is Heather Cox.
Hi there, I'm
I-
Stephanie Stevens.
And I'm Victoria Dean.
She's so excited to introduce herself. She about got stuck off.
I am. I'm very excited. I'm more excited about Andy Moon, who has joined us today to present on our
Absolutely.
MS Office Hours. He is one of our flagship members of this community here. We would not be the same without him. So, Andy, feel free to tell us what you're going to share today, and we will turn our cameras off and let you take it away.
Well, I was asked to talk about Office 365 add-ins. I think that I was volunteered because I mentioned them a few weeks ago. And this may be a short presentation because really there's not a whole lot to it, but I'll be happy to show off what we've done. So the add-ons are an admin feature. This is something that you can add to your entire tenant. The add-ins are, I'm in the admin center here, so I go into settings and it's the integrated apps option. And under integrated apps, we've got a whole bunch of different stuff under here. So I can see the list of deployed apps. So this is all of the apps that I actually have available at some level within my organization. I can see what apps are available. So these are all of the apps that I could potentially add to my organization. And then we also have the ability to block apps if we want to. As you can see, we don't block a whole lot. I haven't been asked specifically to block anything, so we don't have anything in that particular list. We also have some advanced management of some more specific apps. So I do have the ability to go in and manage apps in Azure Active Directory. Now, this is an area that I don't go into much because I'm not a developer. And so this really is much more of a developer type of deal. Sorry, I had all this open already on my other computer, but then that one didn't want to share, so I'm having to reopen it. But so I go into, I'm sorry, it's not Azure Active Directory anymore, it's Entra. So here we can see that I've got enterprise applications that are published in Entra, and we've got a bunch of different applications in there that we can also add in Azure. Now, I understand, or I saw a message center post the other day that SharePoint add-ins are going to be deprecated in the near future. So, but this is labeled a little bit weird. So it's labeled as apps within the SharePoint admin center. So I don't know how much of that stuff is going to stay around. And then we've also got Teams. Now, note that these are really just taking you to the admin center for those particular products. So if I open the Teams, it's going to open the Teams admin center. And so we've got a bunch of Teams apps that we could also add. So that's under the Teams apps here. And I can see what my apps are here. And I'm going to focus mostly on the integrated apps. This does allow you to add features and add applications to your Office, your more general Office 365 or Microsoft 365 environment. And as you can see, I do have a bunch of apps deployed. So the list will show me what the names of these apps are. It shows me what host products. So this is like the Fred data is an Excel product. So it lets me see Federal Reserve data in Excel. Mendeley Cite is a citation application in Word. Of course, Find Time is an Outlook application, so I can see what applications these add-ins actually add something to. I can see what the status is. I actually specifically left this one alone. So this one's got an update that's still pending for the Money in Excel app. They also have a column here for test deployment. So each one of these apps, there's a little toggle when you deploy it, when you get the app, so that you can mark it as a test deployment. Now, this is really just metadata. It's really just a tag, so it doesn't functionally do anything, but it does let you, like, if you wanted to filter and see, well, what apps do I have that are just marked as test deployments, I can go in and do that. And then if I want to, I can click on any of the apps, see all of the different options that are assigned to it. So on the overview page, I can get to everything else. So I can get to the assigned users, who's assigned to that. There we go. There we go. So I can see in this particular case, I don't consider this a test deployment anymore. So I can turn that off. Then when I'm assigning users, I can choose who this gets assigned to. So I can assign this just to me. Typically, that's where I would consider this, a test deployment, is if I'm assigning this app just to myself so that I can test it. Or maybe if I'm assigning it to specific users or a particular group. So I do have the ability to use Azure Active Directory groups. So if I wanted to use my IT group, I could go ahead and assign this to all of the central IT organization, or I can assign it to the entirety of my organization if I want. And I'm going to go ahead and discard that. So, and those options are available for any one of the applications that's listed here. I also have usage data, and so the users tab is right there. Usage tab, I can see basically what kind of usage this particular application has gotten. And then I also have the ability to download an actual report if I want more detailed information, or if I want to put together a report in Excel for my management or whatever. So there we go. We'll go ahead and reset that. There we go. And then I can also see when this app was last modified. So when was the last time I did something to it? When I've got updates pending, updating an application is really quite easy. It pops up right here at the top. So if I've got something that's listed there as updates pending, it's real easy. I just no more and update there. And it tells me some information about what this app is. So in this case, I need to allow users to sign into the app with their work or school accounts and the various other, so it gives me the app capabilities. And I say accept an update, and it goes ahead and gives me a progress. And then it will change that status to OK once that is completed. So give that a refresh. There we go. And so I'm still in progress there. So getting new applications is done with the cryptically labeled Get Apps button. And from here, I can look through the various apps. It does break it down into categories and industries. It gives me the ability to filter based on the product that this application plugs into. So if I only want to see the Excel applications, well, there's all the Excel applications. So there's ChatGPT for Excel, or Ghostwriter, or If I just want to see the stuff that's for Word, then I'm going to see things like the Mendeley site, Grammarly, Wikipedia, those types of things. All right. There we go. I also have the ability to filter with the other apps here. Of course, my favorite way to find things is with the search, and I can just search by name. So if I want to find, there's Mendeley, and from here I can go in and I can get that app. Now, note that it does give you disclaimer. I give permission to use or share my account information. So most of these apps, especially if they're third-party apps, you are going to be giving permission to that organization or to that provider, typically to access some kind of data within your Office 365 tenant. So that's, I mean, in order for the apps to integrate with, in order for the apps to integrate with your Office environment, typically they're going to want to have the ability to do something, to read or write. And when I go in, and I'm not actually going to add anything, but there we go. From here, it's going to bring up the deploy new app flyout. So from here, again, the test deployment is really just it's a toggle, it's a tag. I can assign my users, the options, again, same thing, just me, the entire organization, or specific users. And then if I want to, if I do assign a specific user, I will end up, so I'm going to use one of my favorite guinea pigs. There we go. Come on, Velvet. Where's your account? There we go. So if I do add specific users, then I can choose to send email notifications to the assigned users. And the email looks a lot like, most of the canned emails that are there in Office 365. And I'm not actually going to go add this, but I can go over to the deployment tab. And it's going to tell me what those permissions are. So the capabilities, it can read and make changes to my Word document, and it can send data over the internet. So like with us, since we're in Texas, since it's sending data over the internet, this is likely a cloud solution. So we would have to go through and make sure that they're TextRamp or FedRamp certified, so that we can make sure that they follow all of the various requirements of the state of Texas. We also do have the ability to upload custom apps. Again, I'm not going to talk about this a whole lot because I'm not a developer and this really isn't my area, but the app types, I do have the ability to deploy from here Teams apps or Office add-ins, and then I simply upload a manifest file. So that's going to be a zip file. From there, I'm going to be able to choose the users that are going to have access to that app and the deployment options, just like I can for any of the other apps. And let's see if that one has completed its progress. So yeah, there we go. Now that we've got money in Excel, you can see that the status is okay now, and that it was last modified today. Now, the way that these apps manifest in your environment is going to be different depending on the app. A lot of them will actually drop new options into your applications. And for most of them, that's both going to be in the web-based application as well as the full version of your application. So in this case, I've got Excel open here, and so you can see that the Fred application has added a Fred option here. Analytic Solver is another one of them. But then from here, so this is the Federal Reserve data application. So from here, I can go in and I can now work with the Federal Reserve data. So if I want information on real gross domestic product, then I can go ahead and say, well, that's what I want. And I can say I want to get the data, and there we go. It goes out to the Federal Reserve and it grabs that data. So in this case, it actually dropped that. Right there into my application. Note that this is the full version of Excel. But if I went into the web version of Excel, let's see if I can get that to come up on this computer quickly enough. Should be able to. So from here, I believe that Fred is one of those that also manifests in the web application. So a lot of these will be in both the web application. Oh, in this case, no. So this one doesn't put Fred in here. So I would have to use the full version of Excel. Oh, no, there it goes. It just was a little slow adding it. So again, I have the ability to go ahead and go into Fred, Analytic Solver, data mining. All these are applications. And there we go. Word, same kind of thing. So I can go into Word, into my blank document. And hopefully I will be able to quickly enough find the, because like Mendeley is one of the ones that's been added, I believe, for all of our that on references. Yeah, there we go. So there's the Mendeley site. And that's a citation application. Now, just because you can add these apps to your environment doesn't necessarily mean that you have the legal right to use the applications. Keep in mind that many of these applications do require some kind of licensing. So like when I add people to certain apps, if I know that they're licensed, I'll add specific people to those applications. There are others that don't require an additional licensing fee, and those are ones where I'm a lot more open about saying, okay, we'll just put that for the entire organization or let people opt into it. So you will want to be careful about who you enable certain apps for, because just because you can drop an app into your environment doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't a charge or that there won't be some kind of charge later on for those applications. And I think that is pretty much what I had. Yep, that was pretty much what I had, unless anybody has some specific questions.
There are so many, and that I'm so excited about that. So we do have one hand up, so we'll start there, and then we'll
Okay.
go through the ones in the. Oh, you're gonna need to take my face off the screen there, Andy.
Okay.
I can be. I when I'm on camera, I pretend that like nobody else can actually see me. It's kind of like what my thing is. I just like block that out. But then when I see it, then it bothers me. Yeah. So we have the hand up, and then let's go to the chat.
Sure.
Yeah. So my question is about people who are requesting apps. I'm not as familiar with the integrated apps area, but in the Teams apps area, you can see that people have requested an app, but I can't see who those people are. And I would like to be able to see that so that I can report back to them whether we're going to deploy that app or not and why. Is that something you know anything about?
Apparently not.
You've got that request by users column, the 6th column over there.
Oh,
And that's
there we
where
go.
they would appear.
I thought that I saw. Let's see. And I don't have a whole lot here that are. Let's see. See if I've got any that have been requested. Yeah, so I know that I have seen those requests, and of course when I was in earlier, I know that I saw those requests, and now I just can't find them. Lovely.
Would it help if I showed my screen, or can I do that offline with someone, or?
Let's see. You won't be able to share your screen because you are not a presenter at present.
But feel free to potentially take a screenshot and drop it in. And so while you're doing that and adding that, we'll start kind of trying to go down the list of the questions if they have not been answered. Are all these apps in Defender for Cloud apps?
That I don't know.
Okay. The security, what does security review look like? Just checking the API permissions for soundness.
So our security reviews are typically more geared around is it certified on TextRamp or FedRamp? So basically has the state or federal government approved it. So that's most of the security review. We have a very weird security review process.
Yeah, well, and I don't know that it was specifically called out on here, and I know that we have a large higher ed audience that is on here, but for those of you that are K-12, you know, one of the things that we had to be concerned with and worry about as well with third-party apps and add-ins is whether or not they were permitted for children under 13. So just a call out for those of you that do work in K-12 that some apps are not appropriate or in the terms and the privacy, it'll say that under 13 is not permitted without permission, and some are just across the board. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. I'm sure that across the board, top down, everybody is worried about things like I see Andrew's comment, you know, about business agreements with third-party vendors for FERPA and HIPAA reasons. You know, I am sure that is hugely top of mind. So do you guys, Andy, do you establish any business agreements with those?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And that might happen in a different capacity too. I know that, you know, depending on the IT departments and things like that. Question. Steve had a question. I had issues before where some apps are nicely available to install and others just, it's more of a statement / question.
Yeah.
Nicely available to install, others just plop on everyone's toolbar, and that makes Steve sad.
So it's a statement, but I'm hoping Andy's going to say, well, it's because you didn't check that one box.
Well, and some apps are a little nicer than others about that. So there are some apps that you actually have the ability. So like the availability status listed here. So some of the apps make it easy to say, okay, well, the users can install it, but we're not going to just plop it right in. And then there are other apps that are really much more of a, you know, we want to just drop it into the interface. So, and that's kind of on a different for different apps.
Oh, and then we've got that screenshot. If you scroll, Andy, are you able to see the chat?
I wasn't earlier. Let me see if I am now.
Because if need be, I can share my screen and show that.
I can see it on my other.
Okay, so there's a screenshot and you can see where it says requested by users and there's like 6 users.
Right. I wonder, and you're not able to actually click through on the app name to see who's requested it?
I can click through, but I can't find.
It doesn't actually.
anywhere.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I had one that had been requested but I would have expected for some of that information to be available here. But you're saying that's not the case, so.
Interesting.
There's a second screenshot. When I click through, it does get to a screen that says manage requests. But when I click manage requests, it's just a screen that's going to come this third screenshot here that shows no user list.
Well,
Wow.
that might be something that, you know what, let me talk to some folks on my end, and we'll see if
Yeah.
that's something that we can maybe follow up on and see if we can get you an answer on that one. But
That'd
see,
be great. Thank you.
Look at this, Andy. Like, you thought we wouldn't have enough, and then there was like questions galore. So you were able to absolutely fill all of the time.
Woot.
So there you go.
And you didn't have a mass exodus. We still have 120 people on this call.
Double woot.
And then now it drops.
Right. And then the bottom dropped out, right?
Yeah, we're at the end of the call, so that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, you always know it's here because then that little monster face popped in. So, all right. Well, yes, we are at the end of our call. I will go ahead. I'm not going to share next week just because I want to make sure we're fully confirmed before. I appreciate people and their patience. This week we were a little delayed. Thanksgiving threw me completely off, and so I was super delayed in getting